Hello and welcome to another edition of Safety Update with Sam. I, of course, am Sam. You are not. Let's keep it that way, okay? Anyways, moving on. Last week we visited the shop. Thank you, Aaron, again for showing us what we need to do for some pre-trip inspection stuff. I learned a lot of stuff. Now, granted, I don't do pre-trips every day, but I learned some interesting things about the new trucks. Hopefully you did too. I got some good feedback on that one, so thank you very much. And again, thanks Aaron for that. This week though, I want to cover something else, and then we'll dive into the dash cam video as well. But as you know, or as you should know, it is winter time, or it's getting to be winter time. The temperatures are falling, okay? And they're gonna stay cold now for a while, especially if you're up in the north side here. Maybe Houston, Texas, it's not as cold, but you know what? I'll say this. In Texas, if it snows or you get even a hint of ice, you guys completely have to shut down your state, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyways, but it's getting cold. And with that, sometimes the equipment doesn't want to quite work just right, okay? And so, unfortunately, we had an incident already this year up here in Rockford where one of the trailer wheels got froze up. You know, the brakes froze up on our driver. And unfortunately, he drove a little bit, about a mile or so, before he realized what exactly was going on. And it left a pretty good skid mark along the way. So, you know, we just want to make sure that if you are feeling any sort of tugging or any sort of difficulty moving the trailer, keep in mind that now is the time of year or the season that we're in where your brakes might be frozen, okay? So if you do have a hammer and you can loosen them up yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, or if you've never done it before, I'll put a link to a video. Meiborg has made a video a couple years ago about how just to unfreeze trailer brakes. And it's a short video, it's super helpful. And hopefully, if you've never done it before, it'll show you exactly how to do it. It's pretty simple. It takes a little muscle, but I know all of you out there, you've got the strength to do it. So if you find yourself with you know, a trailer that's just not quite pulling right, and you feel that, because you'll feel it, you can feel when a tire is dragging, then your brakes are probably locked up or seized up or something. They're frozen. And so you need to get down there and undo that. And again, I'll try to put a link in the video here, do one of those little bubble things again, or if not, it'll be down in the comments section for you to take a look at it. It's well worth your 3 minutes, I think it is, to learn how to do that. So anyways, again, we're in the winter time. This equipment sometimes doesn't like the cold, so make sure you're putting the right additive in your fuel. We discussed that a couple videos ago of what additive to use in a situation, you know, using the diesel supplement versus the diesel 911. Make sure you understand 911's for when it's already gelled up. The additive is to keep it from gelling up. So just make sure that you're using a little extra caution. Again, doing your proper pre-trips and doing your post trips will help out, excuse me, help out a lot with that as well. So anyways, if you do have questions about anything with winter, you can contact me, but I might not even be the best resource with this when it comes to winter tips and how to make sure everything's running right. You might just want to contact the shop. We've got some very, very knowledgeable people in the shop about how to best handle winter conditions and all sorts of things. So if you have questions about that, contact the shop. But please, if your trailer doesn't feel right, stop. Make sure that the brakes aren't frozen, and if they are, unfreeze them, okay? Because you know this, all the wheels should be turning, and if they don't, there's an issue, okay? So I don't want to see skid marks going down the road that could have been prevented, because as you know, skid marks leave a bald spot on the tires. Now we got new tires to buy. So we don't want to do that. We want to try to minimize our costs as much as possible, especially when we're making mistakes that could have been caught. So if you're feeling anything different with the equipment in the cold weather, make sure you do investigate it and contact the shop if you need to. Okay, cool. All right, so now this week's dash cam. All right, so I will admit that this week's dash cam is, now nothing bad happened, but this week's dash cam had potential to be just an absolute disaster. So I want to give credit to the driver of this dash cam. He did things right. Again, you just sometimes never know what's going to happen when you're out on the road, and especially as we can see here, he's in a neighborhood area, so and things can happen really quickly in these neighborhoods. So let's just take a look at the dash cam, and then we'll kind of walk through it again. So just driving down the road here, nothing too crazy right now. All of a sudden there's something in the road, and it's a kid. It's a small child, just randomly runs out into the road. And now, oh boy, that could have been, like I said, just horrific had our driver not been paying attention. And that's one of the, when you're out on the interstates, you really don't look for this stuff because it's so uncommon. But man, when you get into these neighborhood streets, which a lot of you guys drive in, you just never know what could pop out in front of you. So especially in streets like this where there's no shoulders either, you have to be extra cautious because you have no getaway per se. You have nowhere to go should something happen in front of you. So on these kind of roads, you just need to be extra cautious and know that things could pop out. And the scary thing, this kid runs out in front of him and then falls down. Like, yeah, as a parent, and I know a lot of you are parents too, like this is possibly one of the most scary situations that you could possibly think is your kid running out in front of a semi truck. Because as you all know, it wouldn't end well at all. So again, and I don't want to get into where were the kid's parents. I don't know, okay? But this is a situation that happened. A kid got out of the house. The parents probably thought he was napping, and he got out of the house and ran to the street. And just thank God that our driver was paying attention to the road, because again, here's the deal. On these back roads like this, you're only doing about 30, 35 miles an hour. And I understand the tendency to kind of get a little distracted when you're going that slow because you think, I've got plenty of time to react. I'm not doing 70, don't have to worry about anything like that. But this is the dangers of these small roads. Kids could pop out, adults could pop out, people on bicycles, cars. You just never know where they're going to pop out at. So even when you're going slower on these back roads, it is so stinking important to pay attention to what's going on in front of you because, again, you just never know what's going to happen. And in this situation, a small child runs out into the road and then falls down. Like the small child knows that he made a mistake, looks like he's trying to get out of the way, and he just slips. And again, as a parent, this kind of dash cam, when I first saw this dash cam video, that made me audibly go, oh, it's just like, oh, just looking at it like that could have been so much worse. So I just want to remind you guys, the interstate driving, the major highway driving, that can get, that's usually pretty calm as far as, nothing's really popping out in front of you. But man, when you get into these back roads and these neighborhood roads, please, please, please do not let your guard down, okay? Don't get distracted by other things. Don't say, well, I could slam on the brakes and I could stop this thing quickly, because you just never know. If this driver was going even 5 miles an hour faster and that kid was right, I've said it before, this could have just been a terrible, terrible accident here. So again, good job to the driver for paying attention, recognizing that, hey, there's something up in the road here, I got to slow down, and then noticing what it was, and then just completely coming to a stop and letting that child get back to where they needed to go. Because again, that just could have been a disaster if he was just looking at his phone, switching out, on the radio, because hey, I'm in a slow zone, I can react quickly. You just never know what's going to pop out in front of you. So please use extra caution when you're on these little 2-lane back roads, neighborhood roads, all that kind of stuff, because again, you just never know what's going to be out there. And I would just absolutely hate to see an accident like this actually happen. 1, for the child and the family, and 2, for you. This could have been a very traumatic incident for the driver. I know, and a quick personal story here. My grandfather was a bus driver, and it was a foggy morning. He had everything on, all the lights on, had the stop arm out, and 2 high schoolers in the car behind him didn't see him. They were going too fast, and they slammed into the back of his bus, and both of them died. And he lived with that for the rest of his life. Like he never forgot about that. And even though he was completely innocent, did everything correctly, it stuck with him for the rest of his life. And I would hate for something like that to happen to you guys, have an accident like this stick with you for the rest of your life. Even though it was completely an accident, it still will be on your conscience, and I don't want that for you. I really don't. So when you're on these slow roads, so to speak, the neighborhood roads, please be extra cautious, okay? Because things pop out really quickly, and you might be going slower, but your reaction time still isn't going to be fast enough usually. So anyways, that is this week's dashcam video. Again, if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, feel free to get a hold of me. My information's at the bottom here. And until we speak next time, drive safe.